The in-depth analysis of Jonah Markham in NCIS. Tony and Ziva Episode 7 effectively explains why it's challenging to become engrossed in the NCIS spin-off plot. In Episode 7, Tony and Ziva's observation of Markham's apartment takes precedence over all other activities, and their attack plan against the renegade Interpol agents starts to take shape. In an effort to provide a narrative that would explain Markham and Arono's friendship and campaign against Graves, the focus on Markham, Arono, and Lazar highlights how little they trust one another. Despite implying that Martine would betray Markham, Tony and Ziva Season 1, Episode 7 doesn't provide compelling details regarding Markham's motivations or goals. In contrast to the previous episodes, Tony and Ziva Episode 7 meticulously concentrates nearly entirely on Markham and Arono's past, going back to demonstrate how they became close in their contempt for Graves' methods. The conclusion of Tony and Ziva Episode 7 doesn't go any closer to exposing Markham's motivations than the start, even though it gives the antagonists a significant platform. Without any further information than Archie's analysis and his conclusion that Markham is probably a dark empath, the message of Tony and Ziva Episode May 7th be confidently summed up as follows. Markham is a deadly villain by the end of the episode. As a result, Markham's unbelievable past exposes his shallowness as a villain, a flaw that permeates Tony and Ziva. The same troubling aspect applies to Henry's death as well. Though Tony and Ziva never really explains why Henry's death affects Tony so much or focuses on their friendship, the fallout from Episode 6 of Tony and Ziva intriguingly drew comparisons to NCIS by highlighting how alone Tony feels in the wake of Henry's death, which didn't happen for similar deaths in NCIS. The crime drama doesn't really support what Tony and Ziva say about anything, including the central plot point of the story, the friendship between Tony and Henry, or what motivates Markham. This demonstrates how its most significant developments are based on dubious foundations, which invariably diminishes Tony and Ziva's plausibility. Even though the episode mostly focuses on Markham's team, Tony and Ziva Episode 7 highlights the show's main flaw in that its goal of elucidating what drives him is conspicuously unfulfilled. The NCIS spin-off isn't as comprehensive as it could be with its other stories, despite the fact that it flawlessly captures Tony and Ziva's relationship issues and their struggles to keep one going. Due to its distinct advantage over the Mothership program, this draws attention to Tony and Ziva's unrealized potential. In fact, Tony and Ziva's decision to switch to streaming after their tale gained a lot of traction on network TV, allowed the NCIS spin-off to concentrate on the specifics, which had to be spread out over several seasons because of the inherent limitations of a procedural television program. When the titular pair is involved, Tony and Ziva effectively use the flexibility and attention to detail that come with streaming. It does not, however, do the same for the antagonists, the supporting cast, or even the case that places Tony and Ziva at the heart of a continental plot that compels them to flee. It seems like a lost chance, given how much effort and focus might have been spent on other facets of Tony and Ziva outside Tali and the title pair. In contrast to NCIS, Tony and Ziva, which selects such a feature, NCIS does the exact opposite because it is a network television program. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.